emerging from a cocoon into a caterpillar, from a caterpillar to a butterfly. The metamorphosis is here, it's live. Metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis, word, sound and power, music, drumming, current affairs, everything to grow and lift up your mind. Metamorphosis.
No more youths and youths for sale. We get wise and don't decide to change their style. Bobby wrong, keep your empty promises and your crooked smile. Metamorphosis, come with your thoughts, change your way of thinking. Metamorphosis, the change begins with you.
I'm gonna pass it, got me the Ethiopia, Timbuktu, Alexandria, gave the light of civilization to this world. Ethiopia shall stretch forth our hands unto God, and princes shall come out of thee.
Guide I, it's the voice that sets me free. Guide I.
Good evening, I'm on Black.
Good evening.
This is Pauline from St. Mary. Calling to big you up on your program. I am a disciple. I've been there since almost the inception.
Guide I, it's the voice that sets me free.
I just you may have to tune into because, you know, I always even watch someone tell life and stuff, and that I have to see for later. I have to really listen to you first, you know what I mean?
Africa, dafa baxna, ki dafa ñaan, ki dafa rafet, won ma ci ki bunjul, ki dafa bunjul, wan ñaan deke saway, ki dafa bunjul, won ma ci ki bunjul, ki dafa bunjul, daf leen rafet yow wen tamé ndax ingama, get ni daf leen rafet yow wen tamé ndax ingara, daf leen rafet yow wen tamé ndax ingara, did you know, that's a richer Africa, did you know, that's a richer Africa, did you know? Said the whole world love it, did you know? Said the whole world love it. Be proud of your culture. Be proud of that's what you got. Be proud. You live the life you love. You love the life you live. Everything you have in mind, I will give. Ooh, greetings I bring from Jah. Diamonds and the money and pearl. I hope your reggae music keep playing on the world. No matter what the price of the music is nice. Oh, your little sister and rub it in the eye. Whoa, whoa, breathing I bring from Jah to all ragamuffin. Ooh, I hope it take a mind to sing the
time for family. Now is the time for family.
Yes, we are one big family, living in a different country. Joy, joy to the world. Joy, joy to boys and girls. Let mama and papa feel much better. We are one big family, living in a different country. Yes, we are one big family. Together, that's the way it ought to be. Whoa, oh, oh, oh. Brethren and sisters, we no more. Roll your boat to our shore. Whoa, I make my decision. Whoa, and this you better understand that we must all live as one. One big family, together in a harmony. Yes, we are one big family. Together, that's the way it ought to be. One by one, we trot along, singing songs of redemption.
Everything is going fine. Yes, blessed love. This is Denver Morgan saying, tune into the Metamorphosis with Dr. Iman Block every Monday night from 9 p.m. to midnight. Be ready to be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Jah Rastafari.
All praise on the Most High. His last year. Rastafari. Abolish slavery right now. Pharaoh let my children go. Hey. Africa prepare, cause I'm coming home. Black man prepare, cause we going home. Africa prepare, I and I coming home. People prepare, cause you're going home. The joy you bring you, my song I sing you, the fire within you, the struggle continue.
Metamorphosis.
Begin you, we got to win you, prosecute and trim you,
Metamorphosis.
king you. Got to be bold and brave, they call you, settle us, they call you. Be slave now, look at you, with the length of days, give praise, fire of the blaze. Africa prepare, cause I'm coming home. Black man prepare, cause we going home. Africa prepare, I and I coming home. People prepare, cause you're going home. No equal rights, not justice, no schools, no jobs, the more they use the bookies. They do some farming, me get up, blow and me put this. Babylon can't touch this. Look to the east for the crowning of the king. That's the way you are should go.
Greetings. Dr. Iman Block here on the Metamorphosis. They say it's a new year. What do you say? Anything new? Transformation, change is essential. Change is a part of nature. And the only thing constant in nature is change. So we must appreciate love and embrace change. Yeah, this is supposed to be a new year. But you know, we have to keep the perspective Afrocentric. And in that perspective, we'll continue to reflect on the essence and the nature of our calendar. And we begin to examine in real terms and times where and how have we been living as a people globally. And how many millions and millions of persons acknowledge in their own thinking that this is the year 2021. That is the program. And 2021 signifies 2021 years in the year of their Lord. 2021 years in the year of their Lord. And I am justified in asking the question, no, 2021 years later, how has the worshiping of the Lord for the last 2021 years, what has that done for the people who are African and the people who are black? In other words, what has worshiping the Lord for the last 2021 years done for black people? And we have to use that as a reference. How have we benefited now? Because they have put us into the year of the Lord. And obviously there were years before the Lord, but we are not cognizant of those years. So we are running on a calendar established by a Pope, Paul, Empire, Gregory, in office. And so we get caught into the rhythm of the Western plantation, democratic slave societies. And the Chinaman has his own calendar, and the ancient Ethiopians have their own calendar, giving I knowledge that these things are man-made and constructed to serve a certain benefit. The question is, does this calendar and the activities benefit black people? How does it benefit I and I? Or are we just tools within this economics framework called a calendar? Remember, they tell us that 7 days make you weak. And so you are engaged in labor for 6 days out of the 7. And on the 7th day, you are encouraged to rest in order to recuperate, to get back on that 6-day grind again. And so we are monitored now by the calendar. Tells you that every 7 days you become weak. You don't get any stronger. Yes, 7 days make you weak. And the idea of this, a week being 7 days, and why it couldn't be 5 days, and why that period of labor could not be 10 days. How did they arrive at 7? And I will just venture to guess that it is tied into the Christianity within the slave structure of thinking. Because the Christian concept gave the people the idea that this world was created in 7 days. I am just suggesting this now, you don't have to go so. But this is what my little side brain allowing me to explore. And that in that 7 day story on the earth, the creation took place, and in the 6th day, everything was all laboring done, and I'm saying the 7th day, the Lord God rested. So I don't know if it's that them transform now into the economic framework where we slave for 6 days, and then the 7th day, we take our labor and our resources of those 6 days and give it back now to the Lord. What a very vicious cycle. So I think I have the right to query the 2021 years that we have been locked into. This is called the year of our Lord. And how has it benefited us? When you look from the last 2,000 years, it's pure brutality reach black people globally. Yeah, man, genocide reaching certain places, enslavement, dismemberment, all of these things, within the last 2021 years. And yet we are still celebrating the Lord. No, this don't necessarily connect now to what ancient cultures speak to as a divine creative force of the universe. This is a man-made thing. This Lord thing is not anything that is cosmic, It's a man-made thing named Lord. And we think it's something connected now to something divine. But I question the whole concept of what a Lord is. Where that idea come from? Is it a British idea? Is it English? Is it African? Is it Oriental? Where does notion of Lord come from? My only connection to the idea is in Europe, And obviously, there could be more knowledge to that. But that's where I start. I know of the lords in Europe. And they used to be owners of serfs, slaves, and capital, exploiters. So something get disconnected and reconnected now when them connect the Lord now to the concept of God. Something get mixed there, so you know, I tell you them now, all of a sudden was here about Lord God. And the Lord God never appeared in the Genesis creation mythology. Them say God was the creator, and God did this and God that, and God did that. And by the second chapter now we hear about Lord God. And Lord God responsible now for this Eve and Adam story and the whole script. So 2021 years, we have no doubt because COVID gave us the courage to question anything and everything with reverence. But the questioning is also fearless. So seek ye first the kingdom that them tell us has not worked. That kingdom, none of us have achieved anything in seeking that kingdom that they tell us. May I make a proposition that we seek ye first the kingdom of Afrocentricity. Seek ye first the kingdom of Afrocentricity, and in all things will be added unto the I. This is the mantra of the Metamorphosis going into this period. Seek ye first the kingdom of Afrocentricity, and all things will be added unto the I. This is the Metamorphosis.
Away from Africa with the intention to steal our culture. The good for the post by and say, humble yourself, my little one. Humble yourself, my children. Humble yourself. Oh, my brother, oh, oh, oh. Higher than I live. Oh. Love universe. Love in Africa, love in America, love in Canada. Whoa. Down in this valley, down in this valley, down in this valley of Jamaica. Where is your love, Jamaica? Where is your love, Jamaica? Where is your love, Jamaica? I can see your love, I can feel your love, I even touch your love. I don't know about your love. Taught them the way to love one another. What whoa, too higher than I live. Whoa, black ID and spirit. Even within I'm on black race. No plague shall come upon night. Keep them away, wadada. Keep them away, wadada. Black wadada. Provide for Ryan. Food, clothes, and shelter. Grant unto I my heart desire. Each and every one entitled to the heart desire. Hear it higher and higher now. They take us away.
So we're following the calendar. And we're moving on the rhythm. And we're moving in time.
To steal our culture.
Just need to be aware that there are several dimensions of time. Several ways of experiencing time, like observing time through the movement of the seasons. That also is an aspect of time. But as African people, as people have been enslaved in a system, sometimes we disconnect time from nature itself. And the Europeans tell us to connect time to money. And we are told now that time is money. And that is almost like a life existing ideology in a place like America. And it's become basic in the capitalist world. That time is money. No, that is a serious conclusion to live by, you know. When you understand who controls the money, you know, and therefore your life now is defined by those who control the money. It should not be so. But it's so the plantation capitalist economic setups and COVID-19 has exposed it. And I went to just make a move to expand now to this new period that they call 2021. It has been greeted now with a new strain that is more infectious. And so the panic and the intensity and the fear, you know, has been ratcheted up on this calendar year. And in that ratcheting up, the desire now and the anxiety now to get this vaccine has intensified. So it's a psychological, mental, depopulation agenda. It's not just a way of just people just dying from physical ailments. A lot of the deaths are being inspired by psychological conditions. So there is a mental depopulation agenda going on, you know. Yes, and it's wiping out people. Because the stress and the anxiety. Imagine you living in a place and they're telling you that one person dying every 30 seconds. After a while, we one left you, we ain't go down next. So it's a high level of stress and distress and anxiety. And that is causing more distress into the mentality of the people. The lockdowns, intensifying psychological problems in close quarters. At a serious level, we're observing the collapse of the great Euro-American empire established from the Columbus Project. This is my observation going into this period called 2021. And these people, if you look at what's happening in the United Kingdom, that is called Great Britain, and look at what's happening in the United States, them cousin, they are one people. And they have one ideology as it relates to black people, that black people are subhuman and black people are slaves and they are the conquerors. And they promote the ideology of being dominant. But I refuse to attach the concept of supremacy to these people. So they promote the concept of being dominant. And in that struggle now, we see that after a number of years, the empires have expired. And they reach a stage where in the leadership, both in the UK and in the USA, is you know, the North Korean leader called American president a dotard. You can always go back and look that up. That is the perception, and that is probably the reality. And if you observe what's happening within the political framework, these two empires are at their end, and the COVID is like the final blow, because what COVID-19 20 is really the First World War. They tell us in their history that there was World War I and World War II, but those were two European conflicts in special. European War I and European War II. This war is a global war. Perhaps it is the first world war, where all the nations of the world now have to be focusing on fighting this specific force. And the two great centers of economy and military might coming through these decades are the ones that are crumbling, the UK and the USA. The politics of the UK isolates it now. The politics of isolationism that is promoted by Trump and it is promoted by Johnson is bringing these empires to a close. We have to be able to be observe as a people what's happening around us without being emotionally attached to it, because this entire global system has never been for us as a people. We have always been tools. So the consciousness is required to recognize that if the ship is going down and you have been a slave on the ship and you can jump off, what do you think it should be the best option? But you're going to have some slaves who will be trying to save the ship. And they'll be working harder than the ship owners. The tragedy of being Negroes in the black man struggle. Metamorphosis.
I and I, the son of the Most High, Jah Rastafari. Our heart shall correspond and beat it in one harmony. Sounds from the burning spear.
Greetings again. Hail. Give thanks for the opportunity again. Initial program for the calendar year, new. And within this presentation, we want to try to speak of issues that can help to transform our condition as we move within this time dimension. All sort of events happening around, events happening locally, meaning on this Drop Rock Island, events happening in the plantation in the north that are bordering on real, power shootout, wild west thing happening again in North America now in the civilized 2021 period. You see where the entire globe is locked into a vaccination campaign. And within that campaign, individuals are contesting their rights and their freedoms. That the COVID is no longer just a health issue now. It has morphed into a serious political and most critical economic thing that is becoming a monster within the whole globe. This thing taking on a life of itself like it come to defeat certain forces that call themselves human and humankind. And yet, within the devastation taking place on the planet Earth, these men are organizing to make the mission to Mars a reality. Much of the resources of the planet Earth is being directed into these type of research and programs. The United States, India, China, Japan. I know one Arab nation, I think it's the UAE, they have sent off something to get to Mars. So we can't get overwhelmed, with the drama that is absorbing everybody and become totally distracted from everything else. Because when this passes, we may have something to deal with that nobody's prepared. So we have to stay in a consciousness and remain thinking in a more cosmic and global way. What is the issue with Mars? What is the idea behind trying to colonize Mars? With all these billions and billions of dollars in research science going there. So what is wrong with the Earth? And who is the ones them who thinking that the Earth will expire? So black people now, how do we fit into this matrix? We just observers? Or are we going to find a way to organize ourselves that we can defend and hold a position on the planet Earth? Because the continent that we call home is highly self-sufficient. It has not been decimated like places like Europe and even the United States. So there has always been hope. And worldwide events have occurred. We hear about global flood, we hear about ice age, we hear about the dinosaur age, and Africa has always been there through all of these things. Check it, with all of the global disasters and all of the histories of the earth and how we go down, the continent has stand strong. So the ones who recognize that historical, cultural heritage, strength and power must begin to exercise it into this now. We have to begin to really query unconditionally what is it we really want and how we're going to advance the change. And the change must come first within your own mentality. We have to move away from being people who are believers and move to people who begin to acknowledge and know. It's a big gap. It's a big gap. But within the slave plantation, it's not wise to know. Because if you know, you're going to begin to question the master, and then the master going to get vexed, and you're going to revolt, and then the whole capitalist economic system going to disturb, because they might start burning some things, and you see, they will come. So there are ways to organize, and the organization must come within our own meditation. We have to acknowledge our African-centered consciousness, our black consciousness, and begin to recognize that this is what will begin to pull us together. It's not every man for himself. We know all that ideology is TEAM, together everybody achieves more. That is the philosophy. And this is the metamorphosis.
When I and I should know that we are one. The time has come when I and I should know that we are one. We are one. We are one. Oh yes, we are one. The time has come Jah people, we are one. Jah people, we are one. Jah people, we are one. Oh yes, we are one. We are one. Jah people, we are one. People, Jah people, we are one. Jah people, we are one. Oh yes, we are one. We are one. We are one. We are one. We are one people. World, we are one. The world, we are one. The world is for the people, and the people is for the world. The world is my town, and the place that I own. We are one. We are one. The time has come. We are one. When I and I, we are move as one. The people of the world, we are one. Oh, we are one. We are one. Your people. Oh, people. World people. Your people. Oh, people. World people. The time has come when I and I should know that we are one. Time has come when I and I should know that we are one. We are one people. We are one. We are one people. We are one. The people of the world, we are one. World people, Jah people. The people of the world, we are one. World people, Jah people. We are one people. We are one. The people of the world, we are one. World people, Jah people. The people of the world, we are one. World
Yeah, the time is crucial. The time is essential. Time is not just money. Time is something that can be used and as a tool, because you actually have to have space and time for them to be functional, because it's about activity. And activity at the level of man now, in time alone, doesn't really do much. You have to have something happening in space along with time, that we can transform now things into a kind of reality. So time is a serious dimension, of reality. I say it a lot of times in the program, And sometimes as a people, we don't find time to, find time to sit down and explore what time is. Yet time is always moving. Time goes on without interruption. Some people are struggling to find time. And some people never have enough time. So it's something that we'll begin to look at and really examine whether this thing really can end. Can time really end the way the program was to believe that there's an end of time? Because if you get beyond the concept of an end of time, you begin to even lose the concept of the fear that is projected now into the thing called death. Because the reasoning that they give us, is that the end of time for living people is death. You know, that is your end of time. And yet they tell you now that the opposite of death is life. So they set us in a reasoning on a dichotomy now, on a binary that tells us that life and death now are these two forces that are, we must, you know, they're in opposition. And if it's not one, is the other. When I'm saying to them, after a while, you know, if you really begin to look at the fear factor in death, and how them connect it now to life. And if you don't have life, you have death, and vice versa. The reality of the concept and idea of life really has no opposite. Yeah, there is no opposite to life, you know. It's like how you say up and down is in opposition, and in and out. And we have a binary like that. In an emotional world, I'm say happy and sad. You check it out, you know, you see them give it one called life and death. And we hold that. But I'm going to make an alternative suggestion. That death is an activity that we all observe, and it it transpires and happens within almost all of the kingdoms of life, experience death. But they only can experience death if they had experienced birth. Because I'm saying no, it's not about opposition of life being death. It's really birth. Because birth and death now becomes a cycle in life. And life is eternal. Life is forever. Life has no beginning and life has no end. All things happen within life. So the cycle of life, within the cycle of life, within life there are cycles. The tree of a cycle. Things are the woman of a cycle. So the cycle that we must recognize now is that the cycle is about birth and death. And lose that fear now of death being the end, a finality where your soul burns, because life goes on. Yeah, life goes on. And so we have to shift our mental attitude towards this fear of the end of life. And begin to focus now on what we're doing now. More practical and less abstract. Too many of I and I living in an abstract thinking world. We want to transform that energy now into something practical. And we begin to think practical now, we begin to do things. Because the pyramids and the calendars of ancient people weren't built out of just abstract thinking, you know. They had to do something practical. To take those abstract ideas, to bring it to a level where we can see it on paper, and see maps, and see charts, and know about chemistry, and know about sciences, and know about, you know, atomic chart. And we're going to talk a little bit about the identity of black people being called people of color, where I am suggesting and supporting the notion that we abandon that color notion and acknowledge that we are really people of carbon. We're going to talk a little bit about what is carbon. Yes, science we have to go in now to know ourselves. What is carbon? What does 666 mean as it relates to carbon? No biblical foolishness and no fear factor. What does 666 have to do with the element called carbon? We are going at them things there. This is the Metamorphosis.
The road I travel, I travel all over through the works of Cha-Cha. One thing I know for sure, my roots I'll never forget. I travel. Europe I travel, England I travel, America I travel, I travel. My roots I'll never forget. I always remember the road I travel. My roots I'll never forget. I always remember the road I travel. How can I forget my roots? How can I? How can I forget my roots? How can I forget my roots? My roots, my roots. My roots, my roots. My roots I'll never forget. I always remember the road I travel. My roots I'll never forget. I always remember the road I travel. I've been all over, through the words of Jah. One thing I know for sure, my roots I'll never forget. I always remember the road I travel. My roots I'll never forget. I always remember the road I travel. Oh, my roots, my history, talk about my culture. Oh yes, my people, my roots I'll never forget. I always remember the road I travel. My roots I'll never forget. I always remember the road I travel. My roots I'll never forget. I always remember the road I travel.
In all the ones them who have been listening consistently over the last decade, moving into another decade and beyond. Because ultimately, recognize that energy goes into movement through space and time. Like ripples, they move away from the center and they keep in motion. So recognizing energy as a tool to use, and even recognizing the consciousness, which is the I, which is a source and center of energy. So the dependence, on outside energy sources is not really necessary, because we have enough energy as a sun within our own consciousness. Yeah, we have that level of connection where we can do things out of the abstract and get it done in a practical way. So we have to begin to recognize that we have to return. We have to return to the discipline of science. Not the one that told us on the plantation that when science means negative and mean evil, and the ultimate word to demonstrate evil in the negative psychology is to call it obia. And it becomes a debate in colonial plantation societies, when in reality it's really black psychology. But because nothing at that level of thought can originate from black people, it's something demonic. So the manipulation of thoughts and the operation of the brain is what the ancient man had mastered. So when black people begin to use their intelligence now from the plantation system and think, them start calling it genial. And genial is not a positive thing now, because it means so you're thinking. Them say you use your head. So what do you think you have your head to do? You think your head is there to just balance, to just stay there, and if you just balance your head and don't make it drop off? It's a throne of the Almighty. That's what your head is, I'm not talking about your face. You know, and worse now you have to have a mask. It don't even count what you look like. So the almighty powers dwell within the brain. And the more we become connected to that, you know, maybe the more we wear the mask, the more people can realize that I don't looks not count anymore. And you can make an assumption, you can read no sign language now. So everything becoming internalized. And maybe this will drive individuals to meet up with the I that is resting deep within. So there are things to do to transform ourselves from being fearful of science and thinking, say, just white man now have that mastered. So him now can tell us now that, you know, climate change and the population rising and the temperature 1 degree more, 1 point that more, and we have to do this now. And it's just these guys running the world, and enough of the time them don't know what them doing. Them experimenting. And the victims of the experiment is always the people who have least control over their lives. Less economic control, because even the production of the virus now is for those countries that are wealthy that can get for them citizens secure. You think them care about the rest of the world? It's for them citizens. So it's a resource now defines who get the inoculation thing, and a race to death. And there's no emphasis to race to life, where we can upgrade our immune and our health system and our exercise. And 50% of sunshine I hear helps to heal coronavirus. And why don't we bring nature now? But we're running from nature because the human beings who are not a part of nature, they're not into healing. It's all about making the capital and reducing the population mentally, physically, psychologically. So science now becomes the topic of the day. And within the pandemic, we hear new language. It's not really new language, you know, but it is new language because it has never really been the common speech. And one of the phrases I want to speak to now is the term symptomatic and asymptomatic. Now them drop that pan us, you know. From the highest level, them call it from who? The WHO. Who? WHO. So they say, no, this virus now, first of all, them couldn't find it, and then them don't know where it come from, and them just guess on spelling, and then finally them say, well, all right. I could tell them, say, two ways the whole thing exists. We're not binary. You have people who are symptomatic, and you have people who are asymptomatic. So enough people don't even know sometimes what the A part add on to symptomatic meaning, you know. But that's how the English language behave. They have some things called prefix and some things called suffix. And then add it on to the what you call the root word. Just like when you have man, and then add on hue to man, and you get human. And like when you have kind, and you add on kind to man, and you get mankind. And so them control the language. So we get the notion of symptomatic and asymptomatic. Well, my simple understanding of what the term means is that the people who are symptomatic means that them showing symptoms. Right? Some things them going on with. So you can say, boy, you know, they might have this thing. Then the asymptomatic people, know, them say, them gonna have it, but them not show nothing, so them don't know. So all right, so that is a double bind now. So you have a set of people now who have the symptoms, but them try to divide the world into two groups. One group who have it, and it's like the rest of the world now have it and don't know. Right? So I have said to myself every day, you know, I speak to myself, you know, because the three of we work together. And sometimes me I have something to add into it too. And so when I come up with this conclusion now that look, are there not a set of people who are neither asymptomatic nor symptomatic? Meaning say, you have the people who just not infected, period. I not talk about the people who say have it and don't know. You have some people who just don't have it at all. So I don't know why you either have it or you have it and you don't know. It's like it creates a feel of paranoia and uncertainty that even everybody come near you is a threat because them don't know whether them have it and you know whether them have it. It's paranoia. And that's a serious condition now that works against your health. Remember now, the depopulation agenda is not driven just by physical things and vaccines. You can also destroy the mind of the individual. And that individual mentality will break down. And the physical body will follow, particularly if them all have age. Particularly if them all have conditions that them fear already. We have to watch the Fearful campaign and become more conscious and wise in our thinking. Because the war is on. And all nations are securing themselves. The black people must begin to now act like a nation and defend ourselves. Tanzania has decided to go the herbal route to fight the COVID. Jamaica should be moving along that direction. Should be moving along the Cuban line. But because of the plantation capitalist establishment, we're locked up into a box. Rough times. Metamorphosis.
This is STYLZ FM.
Native Audio Stage and Lighting, now offering stage, lighting, and truss systems for your small and medium-sized events. Whether it's a stage show, concert, drama play, wedding, street party, or club setting, you name it, we'll bring it to life. Call us at 871-5212 or 844-6531. Native Audio Stage and Lighting, a sponsor of In the Know of the Law with Sergeant Delrose Green, and also Real Talk with Lady Cleo and Daddy Rude.
Remember STYLZ FM on social media. View us on YouTube, STYLZ FM Radio. Follow us on Instagram at STYLZ FM. Like us on Twitter at STYLZ FM 961. Become a fan on Facebook, STYLZ FM 96.1.
Taxi operators, come into Orion Insurance Brokers today. Through our doors, taxi operators have access to great rates and great customer service. At one of our 12 branches throughout the island, an insurance plan broker to fit your needs awaits. Find us online at orioninsurancebrokers.com or call us at 876-920-0029-32.
Visit us at our Port Antonio branch, City Center Plaza, 6 Harbor Street, Port Antonio, 876-541-2823. Morant Bay branch, 33 Queen Street, Morant Bay, St. Thomas, 876-320-2839. And the Ocho Rios branch, 20 Main Street, Cornerstone Plaza, beside KFC, 876-974-1460.
Good evening, I'm Black.
Good evening.
Keep on doing what you're doing. Keep on educating. This is Pauline from St. Mary.
Wow! Here, Star, the man in my right.
Side.
I'm on side, the man I hear the man I play Toby's hi-fi more time. The man sound hard in a Star.
Yeah, well, King Toby's I was sound a real while, me I tell you, youth. Yeah, yes,
I'm gonna beg the man at 10 cents,
10 cents.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy a stick oil,
Right now, I'm gonna support that, but if it's food, I'm gonna give food for that. Yes, sir.
I love you. Still forward more time, yeah.
Love you.
Every day, you got to hear what I say and leave the corner and run away. A little resty program is
Kiss FM 96.1, 96.7. People Station.
Through the calendar without turning a corner. They have their BCE. You know what BCE mean? BCE means before the Christian era. And then them have a thing called AD. So the timeline that runs that runs through the plantation tells us that we are in the AD time, Anno Domini. That is the Latin interpretation. And I'm saying we didn't know that plantation journey. The nature of our own identity has been so mixed and mastered and remastered that it's difficult to hear the original song. It's difficult to conceptualize the original I before the mixing and the mastering took place. But it's true we have the power of intuition and imagination and all the various powers of the I. We're able to reconstruct memory. The memory is stored in our melanin system. Nobody can take that out. It's only we can be blank to it, you know. When you recognize the power of the melanin system to hold memory, you see where the genius rests. But to talk about our identity now as a people in 2021 and the Roman calendar, for those last 2021 years, you know, if you check all them deal with when them capture, you know, after the capture, you know, they came into our homeland and brought with them disease. First thing they brought was disease as a tool of war. And up to today, they have mastered that tool of war that we call it now the virus war. So biological warfare has always been a tool of the white man. And has wiped out many nations. The Native Americans can testify, and the black people of Africa can testify. And anywhere the black man in Peruvian mountains, when the Spanish Cortez and his men came, wiped them out with disease. Everywhere them go, it's the same motion. So the identity issue now in 2021 BCE, well, 2021 AD, is that what are we? Who is the I within this time? What am I? Who am I? The iPod, not really the me. Who is the I? And the foundation that the I dwells in now is the me. And where does the me connect itself historically? The me must have a land base. The me must be grounded somewhere on the planet Earth. So they come into our space, aliens invading a space. And the name that they come with is what they put on us. Because all the nations of Africa on the continent wasn't even named Africa. But the nations on the mother continent had their own languages and had their own concepts of their own identity. We come to learn some of them like Fantu and Ibu, and you know, we learn a couple of them Bantu, that there are various nations on the continent. But when the European decide to explore, as we call it, and conquer and experience the conquest of other persons, he had to change the identity of the people in their own thinking. He had to get them to think that they are now something else or somebody else. They had to get them to forget them own self, forget them past. It can be done through brutality, which really perhaps is the only way. Violence. So they call us now Africans. And what we had in common wasn't the name Africans, but we had the physiological, historical, cultural similarities. We are all people of melanin We are all the people of the most ancient society in the earth. We give civilization to all places. So we have that pattern. So now we are now Africans under captivity. And brought into the Western world, the identity will change several more times. There's a time when the people now who brought into captivity, we no longer call Africans, they will call black. The blacks. And then the Negroes. And then the coloreds. And then you hear some hyphenated terms now like West Indians and Black African Americans. So 2021 now, what shall we be? They have given us a new label, people of color. So remember now, you know, one time they used to call us colored people, you know. That's why the NAACP, that's the whole idea behind the term, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. That is what the NAACP represents. Our black hero now, Marcus Garvey, UNI, wasn't defending and supporting no colored people. Garvey was supporting the black people. So in the world today, the blacks who came into the region called the Antilles, the Caribbean, they were now called West Indians. So the whole racial identity now of so many black people from the continent of Africa, motherland, now will be transformed from being Africans now to being Indians. This is serious psychology now, you know, a reversal and denial of powers of natural people, you know. So you have West Indian people now, black as tar. And they are Indians. And then there are Indians in this region from India. So, you know, the West Indies cricket team, they would have West Indians who were black from Africa and Indians who were Indians from the subcontinent. Confusion in the identity. And nothing don't change. Because the blacks in the region now are no longer West Indians. They are now called Caribbean people. And it's wide power structures now making these changes, you know. Yeah, we're no longer West Indians. The people in this region are now Caribbean people. So what will it be next? I am saying they carry us to people of color. No, I outrightly reject that. I will not identify myself as a person of color. Because I have explored and examined what is color. But rather than spend time on defining what color is and what it is not, I will just simply show you what the substitution is. And I don't get this out of my own brain. It's just reading and seeing a brethren who speak about this often, and I begin to explore it. And them speak about people of carbon. That is his phrase, and I use it now. The people of carbon. And that to me resonated deeper now in trying to reconstruct our identity. Yeah, the people of carbon. And we're going to look into what carbon is. Because carbon is black, you know. Carbon is like coal. And carbon is one of the elements they know that is in the universe. And that is in nature. And it's the basis of all life on earth. Carbon. So we'll come forward and we're going to get into a little exploration of the power of carbon. That if we begin to see ourselves as people of carbon, we will begin to embrace a kind of power that is already within. We just work upon the awakening. This is the Metamorphosis.
Oh, yeah. And you done is awakened, yet nothing is changed. Oh, our freedom was once taken. Don't wanna live no more in chains. That's why I call a black liberation struggle. And not give up the fight, no, no. Cause it's a black liberation struggle. Man and man unite. Every time I open my mouth, the wicked, yeah, just trying to get me out. But it's a black liberation struggle. Now give up the fight, no, no, no. And it's the black liberation struggle. Peasants and all unite. There must be some change, yeah. 'Cause I got all men into his reign. Don't give up. Please live up. Don't give up. Please live up. I said the new dawn is awakened. Yet nothing has changed. Our freedom was once taken. I don't wanna live no more in shame. And all unite. There must be some change, yeah. 'Cause I got all men into his reign. Don't give up. Please live up. Don't give up. Please live up. I said the new dawn is awakened. Yet nothing has changed.
The black struggle, liberation struggle will be advanced with scientific knowledge. That knowledge must move from abstraction to application to the psychology and the philosophy of practicality. You have to move away from this abstract living now, people. Yeah, we can't spend our time in abstraction. We have to move now within the practical. And part of it is knowing. You keep talking about a man must know himself. Boy, if you know yourself, but you have to also know the I that is within. Because the I that will become the knower. Yeah, the I become the knower of the self. So you can't just know yourself. You have to know the I first. Check it. And part of that coming to know the I is getting into the habit of thinking three-dimensional and appreciate loving science. When we talk about science, now we're talking about, for example, chemistry. And chemistry not spelled all the while with a C-H-E-M, That is a European spelling. The ancient Nile Valley people spell chemistry with a K-H. K-H-E-M. Yeah, chem. You see, when we start the language to know, it also breaks us out of a slave mentality, So we were always chemists and physicists and biologists without any fear, without any doubt. We should be sending our children now in those directions of study. So chemistry now is an important critical science. It is so important to know that, look, your own structure, each individual structure is driven by chemical forces, by electrical forces, and by magnetic forces. We have those forces that move and we control and manipulate from within our own being. The brain, our seat of consciousness, the Almighty God, is electrochemical, magnetic. Yeah, forces that can connect to the elements that we say surround us. The skull coming like an imaginary blockage, We think the consciousness lock up inside the skull. And it's like a wall between inside and outside. But they say when you reach a level of self-awareness, you recognize that there's no wall. So chemistry is an important thing that for people to engage in. Let's read over and over. Physics, to understand the laws that govern nature and forces. These are things that I had it locked up, We started teaching things from primary school and basic school, That water is chemical, is our things come together, gases, elements, hydrogen, oxygen, and that there's a chemical chart, that there are atomic numbers. We have to make those things become familiar. So when I said to know that I is a man of carbon, you're supposed to just go check your periodic table, check your chemical table and see what carbon is. See where carbon rests. See how carbon relate now to your blackness. What does carbon have to do with being a black man? I want to be in a little brief. Carbon, information is out there now, It's a chemical element. Just like hydrogen, just like oxygen. You see? And it's a very abundant element. Now we talk about the abundance now of carbon now, I want them to recognize ourselves now as black people now, because carbon is black, It's a chemical element. It has a symbol as a C. But when you look at the, we call the atomic chart, it has a 6. It is the 6th chemical element on the chart. But it's peculiar. Because without trying to get too complicated, when you look at the protons, the neutrons, and the electrons, which are the components of the atom, you see is 6 of each. So you recognize that the idea of 666 is within the carbon. I'm going to leave it right there about the carbon, Because the only time we ever hear about 666 is some like a Bible story about the end of the world and some beast who ain't come fight and all, some thing of the man fired, and we walk up and down today and look for man with some sign. Look here, we have to begin to reject them kind of ideological thinking that not based upon science. Carbon is the 4th most abundant element in the universe. And that's what it is, Carbon. That chemical element. So, melanin is essential. We have to know about the carbon, we have to know about the melanin. We have to understand the connection now between chemistry and then magnetism. We have to begin to examine those things without fear. So rather than spend time on YouTube, watch people dancing, which is entertaining, we can use a period of time to upgrade our intelligence. We could school ourselves in this COVID-19 20. Because it's only going to become more intense, the lock-in and the lockdown. Just look at the pattern in the globe and see what is on the horizon. And don't wait for the wave to crash before you respond. Let us move into the preparatory mode. And what I speak to is a mode where we begin to upgrade and solidify our consciousness individually and to organize our family, our children, engage in more reasoning and prepare, because it's not going to get necessarily easier in this global economic struggle. So we have to become more collective too. Self-reliance, collective reliance. We have to change the capitalist framework of individualism and begin to think more collective, which is how it was before we got captured. We were individual entities. We were grounded in families. We were grounded in communities. And our self would become a part of the community in which we were engaged in. So it is a revolution. And this is STYLZ FM. This is the Metamorphosis.
Let them keep talking. Whoa.
talking. Hey, we're gonna keep them talking. Laugh when they're talking, yeah. We've got a lot more coming. Talk, keep them talking. We're gonna keep them talking. Laugh when they're talking, yeah. We've got a lot more coming. Who have ears to hear, let them hear. And who have eyes to see, let them see. No one in this world can stop me, 'cause I'm protected by the Almighty. Jah is with me wherever I go. Oh, I know Jah loves me so. One thing I know, and of that I'm sure. I'm gonna talk, keep them talking. We're gonna keep them talking. Laugh when they're talking. Oh, yes. We've got a lot more coming. Talk, keep them talking. And I know we're gonna keep them talking. Laugh when they're talking, yeah. We've got a lot more coming. Let them say what they wanna say, what they do or say. Can't lead I astray. Jah is I guide day by day, and He's I help in everywhere. Talk, keep them talking. I'm gonna keep them talking. Laugh when they're talking, yeah. We've got a lot more coming. Talk, keep them talking. Boy, we're gonna keep them talking. Laugh when they're talking, yeah. We've got a lot more coming. Let them pass all the dirty remarks. If they were dogs, then they would bark. To them, don't know them corners soon dark. Just like old chop jug.
Now blessed is the Lord thy God, and blessed are they that do his work. I receive it, we have received it, who have sent we. And you receive it, who have sent, we have received it, the Lord thy God. Coco T, Garnet, Silk, and Charlie Chaplin. Do it!
Oh, well now. Giving Isis to Haile Selassie the first. Easy Cockatee and Chaplain. Me shall bow and every tongue shall tell. Jah is the highest. Me shall bow and every tongue shall tell you. Jah is the highest. Father, thanks for all that you have done and for what you're doing now. Well, I am not saying I might not do wrong again, but I promise this time I'll be a better friend. Every knee shall, every knee shall. Charlie Chaplin coming out.
Joe, what me say? Every morning me get up me under God vibes. Pray for the wicked man ship fi capsize. Me want them realize how under God we recognize. Say when it come to God, Charlie don't compromise. Remember the 10 virgin we chastise. 5 they the fool and 5 of them wise. Some of the pin a water about them baptized. But coming Cocotica we not compromise.
Give thanks and praise to Selassie I the King. Oh now yes, for all the loving and the joy He bring. He guide and protect us along the way, making provision for us every day. So on your knees, every Israelite must pray. You hear what I say?
I can thank you enough, mighty shepherd. Your love can't be measured. There are no words to describe you, but we bless thee for your everlasting truth. Knee shall every coming principal.
Emperor God Selassie I the first. Jesus Christ in his skinny character, no come as a lamb to be slaughtered. Head cook and back, wash a bull, buck and up a conqueror. Alpha and Omega, Akarama I Bashanti I. Yeah! Rastafari, live in the heart of fire night. Yeah! Lightning God. Yeah! Thunder God and earthquake God. Yeah! Rastafari, King Haile, 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 Haile. Do it!
So the Metamorphosis, examining the identity issues that have been faced, that I have to face. On the identity level that I speak to is not political nor economic. It's talking about the racial identity. And how can we identify ourselves properly and accurately without any validation from European people? We can't call ourselves what we want. We are unable to define our own selves. That's a very serious limitation. So I'm talking about carbon. And I'm saying I don't support being called a person of color. But I can easily adjust myself to being a person of carbon. Because carbon is something that is alive, you know. Carbon is real. All living things are made up of carbon and need carbon to live. Now the earth has a finite amount of carbon. And at the same time, you can find carbon in non-living things. Carbon is in rocks, animal shells, it's in the atmosphere, it's in the ocean. So when I identify myself as a person of carbon, I'm not talking about connected to the entire universe. All elements that surround that, this person of color thing now, you see when you begin to look into the color concept, it's just an open site for division set up, you know. Because people tell you right away, them have them favorite color. And this you know, it's done already, you know. And then they put a hierarchy on color. To the point where when children born, them lock them into colors, pink and blue. You think the Roman system is it? We have to break out. And we can't talk it out. We have to act it out. And in action now we transform. So we could burn out the people of color concept. It's them bring it away. And if ultimately we will see beyond carbon, we will see our blackness again. Because that really is the power we need to return to know, you know. Is the power of blackness. And it's not a race issue, that's you know. We're talking about a consciousness. A consciousness that is grounded in a racial consciousness, in a racial identity. And so I said to them, no, think about this person of color thing that them was talking about. Just like what them was calling one another West Indians and calling one another Negroes. And with the matter of fact now, them was calling one another dogs. Yeah, man. Rasta man will come in with their own version of calling one another farms, you know. But we choose a symbol, an animal that was symbolically powerful. The Rasta man said, lion. This is the metamorphosis.
What's the difference between the wise and Jah was there amidst everyone, stretching forth his right hand. Oh, it's like a family reunion. Zion in a vision.
Yes, Metamorphosis rolling through STYLZ FM in 2021, extending itself outside of Portland. Yes, undergoing the preparation for the more intense war. So that transformation has been being made quietly to make sure that the broadcast continues as the war intensifies. So technology allowing Metamorphosis come from Mars. Ha ha ha. There are two more points I want to make as it relates to carbon. Because remember now, some of these things are just there in a curriculum in a school, but they're not connected to real life. And some hear about it, some don't hear about it, but they're not connected to a job. They're not connected to making money. So people don't necessarily think that knowledge of this is of any value. But you say, as we see the economic world collapse, and that is not just about making yourself into labor or a wage earner, but it's more about developing the individuality within and the powers that are natural and the powers that you can learn, the skills, the aptitudes, the attitudes, that all those things can be put together to make an individual a mighty contributor to his family, her family, community, and the race. Because God did explain and outline that once you're at a position where you can support your community and your race, and your community and your family to an extent, your next commitment must be now to the race that you belong to. Some of us get trapped into trying to what you call nation building. It's a good idea. But because nations are under so many divisive and so many factions and sections and interest groups, and you recognize that there's no one nation anywhere. It's interest groups and cliques and various power interests that really dominate the place. So we have to organize ourselves. So the point now, finally, about carbon. As I say, I don't think it's spoken about much. You probably hear about carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and you hear say, with the mask now, when you breathe out, it's carbon. Sometimes people never even know what they breathe out was called carbon dioxide. They must call it air. Then take in air and then breathe out air. Now, don't forget more specific that within the air now, there are components. And what you really need out of the air is oxygen. But oxygen has to be mixed with helium and hydrogen. And you start get more conscious of the mind. And the mind I'm calling now your environment. So the power of knowledge now, you begin to recognize that not only are you taking in oxygen, you're releasing now carbon dioxide, which is another gas, but it's poisonous to the body. So carbon is connected to monoxide, adding two more something, and you get carbon monoxide, what comes from the motor car that can also poison you. So what we have to do now is really stop being fearful of this language and see what carbon is by itself. And can life exist without carbon? Most people say, in order for you to live, you have to have oxygen. You must have oxygen to live. And we kind of acknowledge that. But what about carbon? What about this black thing? Yeah. But all living things. Let me put it this way. It would be impossible for life on Earth to exist without carbon. Carbon is the main component in sugar, in protein, in fats, in the DNA. You check it. And in the muscle tissues. Carbon is everywhere. So The reason carbon is so special, and I'm going to just say this now and leave this topic for a while, no, you know. But the reason why carbon is so special is because of the electron configuration. In other words, the electrons or the whole thing configure within the atom. And that configuration is what I spoke about early. That configuration is 6, 6, 6. 6 protein, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. This is what makes that black thing, carbon, that is so dominant in the universe, second most abundant element in the body, the fourth most abundant element in the universe after hydrogen and helium and oxygen. It is something that it can create graphite out of coal, and you also create diamonds out of coal. Diamonds are the hardest natural occurring material. And at the other extreme, it can create graphite, which is so soft you can write on paper with it. So the carbon is really the king of the elements. Black people, we are the people of carbon. And this is Iman Black and the Metamorphosis. With my engineer, Jaco.
Glory to the King. Oh, we glorify your name.
Okay.
Glory to the Father. There ain't no other. Blessed be the Almighty God. Oh, well.
segue out of this reasoning as it relates to identity and being identified as people of carbon. And just reflect on the language and how we communicate with each other. When man trying to curse man and tell him saying black like tar and then black like coal. When you say when a man tell you say black like coal, it's because that individual don't even understand what coal is. Because we're gonna just wrap up the reason by just showing you how coal is really connected to the knowledge of being black. Because coal is a black or brownish black rock with a high amount of carbon within it. Now, this coal that we see in the earth is an energy source. And whether we know it or not, it takes millions of years to form coal. And coal contains the energy that was stored by the plants that lived hundreds of millions of years ago in what they call swampy forests. So it's a coal and the blackness of coal and the fact that black people have been struggling with an identity concept. Black like being the people of carbon, I man think is more uplifting and connects us directly into some sources of energy that is in the universe, is in the plants, is in all living things. And I is the people of carbon. So is that knowledge you want to resurrect and carry forward now within this new calendar system? Because we have to find a different way to think within the year of the Lord, and how can we escape that Lord thinking and find our Kemetic era processing. Yeah, we have to make a move. And the move is before it becomes a physical repatriation, it has to be a psychological reparation of repair our psychology, of repair the aspect of our psychology that we call the identity. This program will not deal with the other aspect of called the personality, which have its own issues. Right now, we're at the foundation, identity. Some people are happy being called Negroes, but they have no land base. There is no Negro land. Some people rather be identified by their political identity, which is very unstable and is based upon men and them thinking. So ultimately, you know, the most comprehensive and static foundation we can draw upon, the foundation that is driven and grounded in our racial identity. And we're not afraid to speak about racial identity because we're not discriminating against any other group. That's not a part of the issue. It's about transformation and ability to look within and stop looking outside for validation. So, people of carbon, how that sound? Remember, you can WhatsApp me, you know. Yeah, man. You can WhatsApp me and tell me if what you think. How you think it sound for us, a different way of identifying ourselves, rather than these people of color thing. And then man tell you about them brown and half brown. And one man tell you say them red, and the next man black and white is opposite. And colors, all this color struggle. And when we look at the spectrum, there is no black and there is no white. Look at that. So we can move away from the color thing. It suits the enemy to have us disputing and debating color. We could just deal with carbon. We could deal with chemistry. And we could deal with blackness, which does not really exist in a color scheme. We're talking about energy. Divine, supreme energy. Way beyond the concept of color. Metamorphosis. moving through the calendar year.
Mama Africa, Mama Africa, am I coming home? Am I coming home? Hello, Mama Africa, how are you? I'm feeling fine, and I hope you're fine too. Hello, Mama Africa, how are you? I hope when you hear these words, your grace turn blue, grace turn blue. I'm saying these words to let you know how much I care, and I won't let go, even though we're oceans away. You're with me day by day. Memories of you keep flashing through my mind. The very thought of you make my time. Hello, Mama Africa, how are you? I'm feeling fine, and I hope you're fine too. Hello, Mama Africa, how are you? I hope when you hear these words, your grace turn blue, grace turn blue. Don't you worry now.
STYLZ FM, you're my number one.
Be wowed on Wow Factor, Mondays and Tuesdays, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's informative, educating, and entertaining. I feel good. Put the joy of entertainment in your ears. Be a part of the Wow Factor on STYLZ FM.
Architects, draftsmen, and surveyors, get your drawings printed in high-quality professional standards. We can satisfy your printing needs. Whether it is for presentation to your clients or for submitting building and subdivision application, make it VJ Printing Services. Whether drawing by hand or with computer-aided softwares, we will plot your negatives and print the copies as you need. We do high-quality white paper printing that is water-resistant and never fades, unlike traditional blueprint. For more information, call VJ Printing at 893-2266.
This feeling is taking over me. I'm so excited.
Feel the euphoria.
Tuesdays from 5 to 9 p.m. with the Master Mixer Musical Maestro Digital Team.
Giving a total satisfaction with melodies and memories by the score. With the widest selection of genres and hits. So you don't know that program you turn up, you know. So you know Patek's a full dance, the one you slap with.
Digital and we are party. Yeah, we flawless. Euphoria the program. Every Tuesday.
5 to 9. Every Tuesday.
With the Musical Maestro Digital Team.
Remember STYLZ FM on social media. View us on YouTube, STYLZ FM Radio. Follow us on Instagram at STYLZ FM. Like us on Twitter at STYLZ FM 961. Become a fan on Facebook. STYLZ FM 96.1.
Jambo, vipi, karibuni katika kipindi cha Doc I'm Black. Kipindi chaitwa Metamorphosis. Jifundishe, elimika na mwelimike.
Who were the founders of STYLZ and of our
another section that we call Alkibulan. Kemet, our story, the perspective of narratives presented as history. Oftentimes the narrative favors the writer. So we need to examine the motive often behind the writers of the narratives that we embrace as history. And even that as a word, we must begin to become familiar with the term narrative. And that certain lines of thought are projected as narratives. The media have a certain narrative. Donald Trump have a narrative. Yeah, and his narrative is contradictory to what the so-called mainstream narrative is about. So as a people now, we begin to make decisions and sort out which of these narratives are more useful and how do they benefit I and I. What is our own narrative? What is our narrative? What have we created as a narrative that our generations can come forward and say, yes, that is exactly what happened. So the narrative that we speak of now within this segment is a narrative that leads us into the Kemetic story, the ancient Egyptian story, the ancient Dogon story, the ancient Zimbabwean architectural stories. So these are the stories that I and I need to examine. But within this section now, we want to focus on the pyramids. And the song that opens this section is called Historian, and it keeps reminding us that we must remember that we build the pyramids. But here it is. We need to move a little bit now beyond that limitation of information. And I want to give thanks now for the scholarship and the genius of 3 or 4 of our Black-inspired writers and researchers. Cheek Anta Diop, John Henry Clark, and an individual, one of the men who led me by hand out of the Garden of Eden and dropped me right into the Nile Valley culture, Dr. Ben Yokanan. Now, them man, set the foundation for the resurrection of Nile Valley culture. You can read Dr. Ben's book, Black Man of the Nile. You can read his book, Chronology of the Bible. And these are from the African perspective. Not glorifying anything in Europe, but showing you how the black man is relating to the story. So upon them, man, they now found the shoulders. We stand and have our own way of looking at the world. So them, man, they take I and I into ancient Egypt culture and take us deep into the historicity of the continent as a people. And so we become introduced to the pyramids on the African continent. We get introduced to the pyramids in Egypt and to the pyramids in Sudan. And then here comes Ivan van Sertima, another one of the giants. But van Sertima now leads I and I now into a different BC period. In other words, now, you see the AD BC thing that we talked about earlier. It is them man who go into the BC period and explore and uncover great African personalities, J.A. Rogers, and show we queens and kings of antiquity to make we know says we the black people. So we embrace that totally. But there is another side of the world that we need to examine. And the man who leads us into that other direction now is Ivan van Sertima. And van Sertima now does not follow the road that is traditional for exploration. And we look at the BCE, which is, Dr. Ben reminds us, means before the Christian era. Ivan van Sertima does not go into that BC era to help us find ourselves, Him go into another BC. His BC now is before the Columbus era. And that's a whole different set of world history now, my virgin and sister. before the Columbus era. And Van Sertima dates events and experiences in that era that are even more ancient now than the Christian era. So when Van Sertima now opened the door to Mesoamerica, as they call it, I realized the blackness of the culture now. These people here are not called Africans now, you know. They are called now people like Aztecs, and they are called Incas, and they are called Mayas, and Olmecs and Toltecs. All of these terms, people of carbon. So what Van Sertima is opening now is a door. And through that door now you step into the Central American continent. And if you are up to date with the research taking place now within the Atlantic Ocean, they have the Cubans are now using the opportunity to reveal what their findings have uncovered, and that it really connects to the underwater city and perhaps remnants of a greater empire that the Olmecs and the Toltecs refer to as Atlantis. Now, this is contradictory now to the European version of Atlantis, because the Europeans learn about Atlantis through a man called Plato. And Plato learned about Atlantis through the Athenians visiting ancient Egypt. So the ancient Kemetic people knew about Atlantis. They spoke about Atlantis and they told the Greeks about Atlantis. But what the Europeans have done now is try to locate Atlantis near Europe, because it's part of their racist mentality and the idea of being supreme. But you see, when you follow the road of Ivan Van Sertima, and you go into the Central American, and you begin to see the pyramids now of the Mayas and the cities, and then you begin to recognize that they have just uncovered pyramids on the base of the Atlantic Ocean. Not just discovered now, mean like yesterday, you know. Because these revelations came to the Americans and the Russians from the 1960s. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, the Americans and the Russians had submarines in the Caribbean. And those submarines had detected these pyramids from the 60s. And they would never tell the rest of the world. But they have been researching and gathering information that some of these pyramids are larger than the pyramids on the land in Egypt. And I'm saying we have to identify these black people and recognize that this is nothing that the Europeans can speak of. This is anciency beyond antiquity. So the timing and the historical relevance of this can take us into the millions of years. Millions of years. There's no Christian Bible story that can fit into the Toltec culture. The giant heads that they have found in Central America could be the actual size of the man them. Check it out. They say giants rule the world. Expand our imagination. This is the Metamorphosis.
Long
All them black people that belong to Africa. So we have to keep the giddy and the hot. Hey, oh, Hey, Kalangola, upon my African Gola, Kalangola.
Bring forward now. You see, the region called Central America. You see the pyramids of the people who lived in that region. It's something to pay attention to. Because the Aztecs, the Incas, the Mayas, advanced civilizations. The Aztec had a pyramid that was in the center of them city. And on top of the pyramid, there are some giant stone carvings. And these carvings represent individuals standing over 15 feet tall and weighing several tons each. They call these statues the Atlantean statues. Huge sculptures. These are the people, these people were called the Toltecs. And they ruled in the area called Central Mexico. Now, nobody knows how these figures were made or how they were transported to the top of the pyramid. But this is advanced civilizations. It's black culture. But because the Europeans can't explain it to us that way, they say they don't know, and it's therefore they attribute these knowledge to aliens. And what they call aliens now are life forms from different galaxies. And it's not necessarily strange in terms of life in other galaxies, you know, because it should be very obvious to most people that what's happening on this planet could not be what's happening in the entire cosmos, because the cosmos is infinite. And as the Europeans uncover different planetary systems and begin to have telescopes now that are planted deep in space, they are now seeing what I and I didn't know a long time, that our ancients could see into Orion and see into the Sirius star system. We are seeing these things, you know, before the telescope invented by the Europeans. How did we see it? The Dogon said they know because they have an experience of their ancestors coming from those places. But a lot of us are afraid to think outside of the Garden of Eden, because the literature tells us that is where man was created. And all the confusion began in a garden. And black man struggling to locate the garden now in Africa. Not recognizing that the garden is just an illusion, an allegory. So we need to have a wider expanse when we talk about black stories and black history. The Mayans, the Aztecs, the Olmecs. The Olmecs culture and history and legend speak to Atlantis, a highly advanced civilization that the persons and the individuals were recognized as gods, males and females, with the ability to travel through air, through space, through water, with the technology that the European is now struggling to unfold. So is that enough to just embrace the pyramids of ancient Egypt? And so we always give thanks to Dr. Ben and the other ancients who lead us into that direction, but we have to begin to now penetrate Ivan Van Sertima's work that has opened up another aspect of the world and show you civilizations that are even more ancient, perhaps, than even what they've been telling us happening on the Egyptian side of life. Atlantis is rising. Black man resurrecting. This is the Metamorphosis.
And if you're ready, make we do it. And if you're ready, make we do it. Make we do it for Jah. Rastafari. The roots and culture. And if you're ready, make we do it. Make we do it and make we do it. Make we do it and make we do it. Every nation have to 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 do it. Make them do it, yeah, make them do it. Make them do it, yeah, make them do it. Do it for Jah. Rastafari. Roots and culture. Do it for Jah. Rastafari. Roots and culture. I make we do it.
Alongside Mystical Villas. Now Blizzard is man walking on the coast of the garden and see the sky fall. Now stand the ways of sinners. Oh, religion. Boys the light to the laugh land. And the laugh land that they meditate day and night.
Great monument on the African continent. There were great monuments also in what we call Central America. Gigantic stone heads of Easter Island. Monuments in Peru. Monuments in Honduras. Yeah, we have to open up our capacity to absorb black man history, the black story. It's not a straight line out of Africa into the West and back into Africa. There is the Atlantic region, there is Central America. And if Van Sartema can speak to 20,000 years before the Columbus era, then obviously it is far more ancient than the 5,000-6,000 years of Egyptian pharaonic history. So I have to recognize now that these are parallel civilizations, because the black man was a global man. And at a time when the continents were more connected. We're gone into the millions of years. When South America and Africa were one landmass. Check that. The Europeans speak about a major event, 6 to 6 million years ago. Check this. They say that 6 to 6 million years ago, the planet Earth was hit with an asteroid. And they have located the region where the asteroid hit is somewhere near Mexico. And their argument is that the outcome of this devastation brought an end to the giant creatures that were in the earth. And it also caused great devastation, of course, sinking of lands and the rising of lands. And for decades, the earth was clouded. Sunshine, difficult to come through. All sorts of changes taking place on the planet. But they're not suggesting to you that the black man was occupying the land at the same time. So I'm saying whenever they speak about events of the earth history, black man must recognize that him is here too. We are here. So we have our stories. And the stories are about the giants that have been in the earth. And the giants in the earth are of the evidence, Easter Island. But because the European man can't explain it, it means that we must also leave it alone, but that's not so. We can get our children excited to find out who built these giant heads. Where them get the knowledge and the technology from? 20,000 years before Columbus? In Central America. So it gets what happened now. You have a BC, which is before the Christian era. You have a BC before Columbus. And there's a BC where the Rastaman bring out, you know. That BC is called Bongo Cat. So when you see the Rastaman come in the marketplace with them things, and you see the man in cat, you say, Rastaman. You say, yes. See me here? I'm a Bongo Cat. Metamorphosis. Sound like something else, that's right.
Come from Buzz Rock with his garment dipped in blood. Said it I go red hot, down in Jehoshaphat. Yes, it I go red hot, down in Jehoshaphat. When Jah come from Jerusalem with his garment dipped in blood. Every fruit before they open out the door. Can't understand how they treat the poor. Yeah. Pray that.
Yeah. Now, is Atlantis fact, fiction, or mythology? Some people think the Garden of Eden is a reality.
With his garment dipped in blood. Said it I go red hot, down in Jehoshaphat. Yes, it I go red hot, down in Jehoshaphat. When Jah come from Jerusalem with his garment dipped in blood. Said it I go red hot, down in Babylon. Every fruit before they open out the door. Can't understand how they treat the poor. Yeah. When Jah were born in a stable, a saddle grass, a little hay lazy.
So I'm going to pose the question now within the context of Atlantis, whether it is a fact or a fiction or a mythology. Because some way, somehow, we have to make a decision out of our own thinking. They've given us books, and given us stories, and they've given us allegories. Is Atlantis a legend? You see, we have to recognize now how can we locate this history, this story, that is so global, that is so captivating, the sound, Atlantis. The United States even named one of them space vessels the Atlantis. The Europeans project Atlantis to I as a sort of mythical place, like an El Dorado, something in fantasy. They don't give us any concept of Atlantis as something grounded in the earth history. But the records of ancient cultures speak of Atlantis. And the location of Atlantis is nowhere where the Europeans try to speak about Atlantis. The Atlantic Ocean now becomes an important site because the Atlantic Ocean has certain forces and powers that come from underneath the ocean. In other words, the theory suggests that at one time there was no ocean there. All that was there was land, and the devastation of that asteroid actually created that opening and sank an entire continent. So you hear the literature about the sinking of Atlantis in one day and one night. Our entire continent disappeared. And we have evidence of the pyramids now at the base of the Atlantic Ocean. And further in the Atlantic Ocean now we have something called the Bermuda Triangle, which demonstrates forces that is beyond the comprehension of the human being, where airplanes and vessels of large size disappear. You know, powers that are coming from below the ocean, radiation forces, magnetic forces, remnants of an ancient culture, ancient civilization, and all of this is black people, black culture. But we need our young youth to begin to explore and examine. You know, if I have thought about doing another doctorate, you know, another PhD, but I would want to just resurrect Atlantis. Yeah, from an Afrocentric perspective, and find evidence to show that it is really an advanced civilization that has its links in galaxies that are beyond our solar system. Yeah, this is me I push the reasoning because it's not what the Europeans tell us, it's what they are just trying to achieve themselves now. They are now breaking their neck to learn what is out there in the blackness. Yet their teaching have us fearful and talk about ashes to ashes and dust to dust, and from whence we come we shall return, and all that type of mythology. And so we can't lift our eyes anymore to look to the heavens and study the stars and realize that civilizations are out there in an infinite number. It is the white man who come to convince us that we were made in a garden, and in the garden there was a female, and then there was a male, and then up in a tree there was a half man and with a tail and a fork. You see it? So there's a woman and a man and a snake in a tree, half man with a fork tail. That's how them one we think say it go. We have our story, and we're gonna resurrect Atlantis in the fullness. This is Metamorphosis.
Hey, what's happening? Brother, what's up? This is a big party, man. Yeah, brother, like, stop. Right on.
Brother, there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Yeah. Father, we don't need to escalate. You see, war is not the answer. For only love can conquer hate. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Picket lines and picket signs. Don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me so you can see what's going on.
so much things going on that we have to try and narrow it down to the things that are relevant and things that we have control, some influence over. Because there are too many things going on at the same time. And if you try to pay attention to everything, you lose focus on all. And so you become a victim to the wind. There's great drama unfolding in the United States of America, where the president-elect is in the sidelines waiting for the show, the Donald Trump show, to come to a close. And the show is coming to close with a bang. Because this president now will not go out in the transitional way that people tend to expect. This brother understands something that none of us seem to understand. And the entire Western press has conspired, it sounds like a conspiration now, to really remove Trump from office because they think he's unworthy. They don't think he sustains the values that they are trying to promote, etc., etc. Now, I have to be looking at what does Trump really represent. And what is the value of a man like that to his people? Because Trump is not working for anybody else but himself and his people. His people are white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. Rich people, evangelical people who hold the ideology of supremacy of the race of Caucasian white people. And Trump knows more about the American political system than any of us out here defending democracy. Anybody, any black man, woman defending democracy don't know nothing. Them know Trump know more than all the way. What them give us is a theoretical approach to this knowledge. Trump know a practical side about democracy, and that it is power that rule. Power. And power respects nothing else but power. And the power that Trump recognizes now is a white glove in an iron fist. He recognizes the iron fist rule, but he's not afraid to put on the white glove. All of these other men putting on colored gloves, them all trying to black and white gloves and polka dot gloves to make the black people feel all right. Trump is a man who is not playing politics, in playing race. And race is the power in America. And those who are ignorant to that will end up feeling the pain. So people expect this normal transition because America the great and America the beautiful, but now we're seeing Trump is now stripping bare the Statue of Liberty, naked for all the world to see. And in this nakedness, what we're seeing now, especially now from the black man point of view, is that the black man is just is collateral material in America. Collateral material. Because the power really rests in the white elite. And power really is what it is all about. And Trump recognized, and I recognize that the elites and the mob in America are not so far apart. They're closely aligned. The mob and the elites. So what we have going on now, a battle for the Senate for control. Republicans versus the Democrats. Now we don't hear about no more black people getting them out to vote anymore. Like that become minimal now. So it is a struggle between these two white groups, Dems and Republicans. And Trump recognized from the early election of Bush and Gore that there was robbery. And the whole world see it, the whole America see it, that Bush robbed the election from Al Gore. But it's because people like to live in denial and hypocritical ways. They must brush it aside. Gore went to the Supreme Court and then jiggle something and force him to just shake hands and call it a day. But Trump saying him not in a that. So there is a deep sense of corruption in that system that Trump and him allies know. Me and you gonna do have no idea about that because we're talking about this. Oh, American beautiful, oh, democratic principles. There were thief ballot box in them places too. And stuff ballot box too. But this is true the impression of this sanitized political machinery. We're under illusion. Trump has just kicked off the cover of the illusion. And if people were listening to Donald Trump in the first debate, you know. All that is happening now is what the man did say going to do. Him going to take it to the Supreme Court. And him not going to come out because he realized that the thing corrupted. And at this stage now, if they're going to get him out, him going to mash it up before him come out. You know that kid who come with him football, him really can't play now, but him have the ball, right? So when him come, and we not the ball, you know, so we have to play with him and nice and pass all the ball to him and give him 2 touches on him. But just if you ever rough him up and take the ball and go, you know. The game done. As a Trump deal with it. Trump say him don't lose. And if him lose, he might take up all of the marbles and go home. And then making one more scrape at it. There's a great thing happening tomorrow. There's something happening on the 6th. And ultimately, it's the 20th I'm supposed to sign out. But look here. Let us stay alert. Because the man, when him come out, Biden going to get heart attack. Biden will be incapacitated before him term done. Yeah, but look at the time of Trump up. He is aiming to support Israel in a strike against Iran. Because the Biden administration will not be that aggressive. I remember Israel now, you know, is just a little proxy state of America. What's going on? Watch it.
Yeah, they say the world is in trouble.
What's going on? Double standards in Jamaica. Lockdown being a man and lockdown bold, but man upon yacht. What a thing. Metamorphosis.
So much trouble in this world. Got to make it better for our boys and girls. So much trouble in this world. Done with the fussing, the fighting on the world. So much trouble in this world. Got to make it better for our boys and girls. Trouble in this world.
We lost so many men, now we losing women.
Yeah.
Just trying to shed some light on the veil.
What are we to do when it ain't safe up in our home? Yeah, fiber down the door, but they only tough when they got that chrome. Yeah, one too many t-shirt, put that paint up in a song. Tell it up for you, then Brianna, now you gone. This for all the soldiers and the lost queens. We just trying to bring hope to the real streets. Plotting on the low, watch out for they schemes. We just tryna live, but they just want us to
say a name, say a name, say a name if you won't change. Say a name if you feel a pain. Say a name, Breonna Taylor. Say a name, Breonna Taylor. We got our hands in the air and they still kill us. We say we can't breathe, they say they can't feel us. Every person from the ghetto ain't a drug dealer, and every cop with a badge ain't a killer.
What are we to do when it ain't safe up in our home? Yeah, fiber down the door, but they only tough when they got that chrome. Yeah, one too many t-shirt, put that paint up in a song. Tell it up for you, then Brianna, now you gone. This for all the soldiers and the lost queens. We just tryna bring hope to the real streets. Plotting on the low, watch out for they schemes. We just tryna live, but they just want us to bleed.
We only protest, cause we want justice. We out here fighting for our rights, and they still arrest us. Them rubber bullets, man, they really hurt. I'm just tired of seeing people look like me up in the dirt.
What are we to do when it ain't safe up in our home? Fiber down the door, but they only tough when they got that chrome. Yeah, one too many t-shirt, put that paint up in a song.
It's bubbling. The news has people preoccupied now because the virus has declared itself to be a different entity now. It has mutated, and in that mutation now, it has gone ahead of the vaccine. They will not tell you that yet because they're still trying to roll out the first set of vaccinations, which cannot cover the entire globe, of course. So there are persons who will not be able to vaccinate until away in the next year. So there must be strategies then to stay alive. So those who are just sitting waiting on the vaccine will just be going through slow motion to death. We have to have an active plan to stay alive while people decide whether they're going to make themselves part of the experiment or whether they shall stand on their own and make their own decisions consciously. There's also great news taking place. on the African continent. But you know, the Western press now is so focused on itself that all we've seen is lockdown in the UK and lockdown in Europe and chaos and calamity in America. But you see, the mother continent on the rise, you know. There are a couple of nations in the western side of Africa who have just formed a new union to encourage trade and commerce. I don't remember exactly, but it's maybe about 10 or 15 countries. Because we are realizing that the unity that we desire as black people don't have to be along a cultural line, because we have our cultural differences. Unity that we search for don't even have to be political necessarily. But you see, the economic unity, that is the strength. And so when we put away those man-made divides that we use to divide ourselves as a group and begin to focus on economic unity, that's when we begin to get respect. So the African nations are regrouping. The Europeans did it, you know. You remember they had 100 years of war, you know, before they formed the European Union and the single currency and all of that and all of that. They went through them tribal experiences and realized the importance of a union that is driven by economic. The OECS, which is the Eastern Caribbean states, also have them currency and they are quite stable. So the African black countries now moving along that direction, and it's highly commendable. It is also very commendable that the Nigerians have found it fit to send an airline into Jamaica for the first time. Yeah, first time. A trip from Nigeria into Jamaica with a one-way return trip, of course, to Nigeria. But it is the foundation now being set for black people of this region to just go straight into the continent without having to go around to Europe so them can count you. So there are great things going on within this pandemic, you know. I don't want them to fall into the psychological trap of becoming depressed and suffer from anxiety and depression, and then bouts of drinking and bouts of violence, and you can't live because you soon die and you don't get the vaccination yet. And how much people being dead per second, and we have to jump off of that media trike. Yeah, we have to jump off of that and be conscious and realize there's men and people running the place, and double standards and racism are the issues that we must fight against. It's not COVID. It's the double standards, and in the Jamaica has an entrenched double standard. Systemic double standard rules Jamaican plantation. And we was watching the outcome of those who them arresting for violating the laws of the health issues. We see prominent black entertainers. We see Beenie Man being drafted in front of the courts. I was both being roughed up for some party that they're supposed to keep. But how we're not hearing about the most wealthy and the wealthiest is that a part of the double standard. Well, COVID, I sure we say, is double standard and certain level of racism that we're facing in Jamaica. Otherwise, the equality concept is just an illusion. We have to address the economic disparities on this island. Where we have children now who are trying to send them to school, and the parents are nervous, and the teachers are nervous, and the nurses are nervous. And it's just about forcing things. We have to pause a little bit, man. We can pause a little bit and stop taking advice from outside so much and think out our own ways. Yeah, metamorphosis, going through.
Yeah, man. Before me switch, me rather be poor, because the journey with me left on me not detour. Judge a leader, so I follow him, and I'll be sure to keep him close, cause I love him the most, yeah. Just protect I on the road, yeah, buckle and shackle, and everyone can play the game, but everyone not tackle them, I expect you to come through. So when you come through, them I say it's a miracle, but I give them rope to end themselves. I give them rope to end themselves. Everything is just a matter of time. Every single thing is just a matter of time, yeah. I give them. Hey. Hey.
face, beg no more pardon. Enough drugs, money they are cherry garden. Enough individual society applauding. You can ask anybody where them get them starting. But no politician take a donation. So no criminal will never see a station. Never see a cell, not even a courthouse. But every Sunday we see them take a boat out. North Coast Resort and car dealership. The construction company, them just don't legit. Usually wash the money, turn it round and hide it. When the kickback them come in, the government delighted. So police cancel operation. Cause no real bad man a go station. Now if you check the situation, a blood money running nation. Come take a look in a Jamaica. Injustice in the place now. If what you see no really face it, then you are the problem what we face now. I know enough of them woulda want we gone. I know them woulda want me gone. They done every day and I wish we had much time on them hands, you know. But why would a king ever fear a boss? A king would never fear them. So what them a go do when them hear this war? Bang bang. No take tellings, want me no fi say this. Man we see your farm and gone in a you lettuce. People mean your harm, you can't tell what a friend is. Grudge you for your paper, scorn you for your pennies. When you no see me gone, forget replenish. Back up in the morning, can't forget the message, no. Avocado, she feel for me, senny. Yeah, man, banana is sweet, pushy belly. Jeez, I want make life sweet, so like a jelly. Climb feet, it hard, can't easy, so forget it. Sang the pan the radio, video pan the telly. Love in me heart, me a spread the catchy medi.
People up your expectation. Will they love you? No guarantee.
STYLZ FM. All hits. 24/7.
Strengthen your mind. We're living in serious times. It's such a mysterious time. We're living in serious times. So strengthen your mind. We're living in serious
I will be done.
times. It's such a mysterious time. We're living in serious times. You do not know if your friend or enemy or a friend. Right now things are hectic, so who is serious or playing tricks? Keep a firm meditation. Don't stop for nothing foolish. Keep your heart clean and strong. Let your God self be established and strengthen your mind. We're living in serious times. It's such a mysterious time. We're living in serious times. Strengthen your mind.
The times we are living in are urgent,
It's such a
and at some point in time, as a people, we have to begin to think about a political identity. The religious identity doesn't carry us forward, it takes us into a whole heap of confusion. And the social identities that we carry, again, create pure discrimination. So we need a political identity that we can use to help us mobilize and put structure now to our economics. Because I say black people lack economics, you know. We have a certain amount of economics and access to. What we really, really need now is a common political ideology. And that political ideology now, the last 2021 years have shown us experience of certain ideologies that by now we can say have failed us. The whole idea of capitalism is a failure. Communism has failed us. Socialism had good aspects to it but lack economics. And now we are reduced to Democrats and Republicans and socialists and capitalists. None of those identities and direction carrying black people forward. We even put on Marxism and Leninism as hats, and those are failures. The only thing we have never turned to fully is what has come out of us. The African thought, the Pan-African ideology, Garvey, Asante. So that is part of our ammunition going forward. A political identity that is neither Republican nor Democratic, and is neither communist nor socialist. It's really about being Pan-Africanist. That must be our political ideology. And so Rastafari, to become more relevant in this time, must begin to speak about politics. And the politics will be higher than the local tribalism. It will be driven by Pan-African thought. However, all our inspired writers out there who have got the great inspiration from the one woman so far within the writings, Amy Jack Garvey, that allows us to speak so eloquently of the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Messiah Garvey. We have the framework. We need the political organizations to set up the Pan-African thought and the Pan-African political movement in Jamaica and the United States. That's the transformation to get out of this plantation system. England and America falling. Black man, Africa, Atlantis, rising. Metamorphosis.
There's some little girls and boys in the ring. There's some little girls and boys in the ring. Want some understanding, deep understanding about Rasta. Rasta no fire on Rasta. Rasta no hate Rasta. Rasta no fire Rasta.
The kingdom of Afrocentricity, and all things shall be added unto I and I and I.
Red, gold and green train. Oh yes, we are going.
I'll say it again. Seek ye first the Afrocentric kingdom, and all things will be added unto the eye. Seek ye first the Afrocentric kingdom, and all things will be added unto the eye. Peace, power. I'm Man Black. Healing all listeners, near and far. Blackout.
The D-Train, the one train, every nation of creation train.
This is STYLZ 96.1, the People Station.
Some decent people love me dance and business. You don't know some respect to the maximum. Don't step up burnt and leave because we control the border saying.
Music when it hits you, you feel no pain. And that's a dance on rock.
Down the
mercy of that. Dance on rock, big features rap. Dance on rock, grandma and papa. Don't stop rock, no.
and dash it in a culture. No slackness, DJ can't enter. One of them coming can cross the border. Two of them coming get turned over. Three of them coming running from bout ya.
Sweet Jamaica wants me, and I'm gonna be there. In Paris they calling, and I'm gonna be there. Down in France they want me, and I'm gonna be there. Spreading my vibe all over the world. Oh yeah, that's how I stay.
Now me say who ragamuffin, say ragamuffin, me killer muffin. Say ragamuffin, who ragamuffin, ragamuffin dance all ragamuffin. Ragamuffin to the east and west, I could the north or south. If a boy try a thing, we gon' go knock it out. Me say Barrington leave it a rough next out. When me fling down the culture, me no have no doubt. Sure.
One good thing about dancehall music, when it hits you, you feel no pain. Yeah. One good thing about dancehall music, when it touches you, you feel no pain. And that's a dancehall rock, and you can't top that. Dancehall rock, big fish or spat. Dancehall rock, grandma and papa, don't stop rock. Yeah, oh. Indiana wants me, and I'm gonna be there. New York City's craving, and I'm gonna be there. In Paris they crying, and I'm gonna be there. Spreading my vibe all over the world.
Lord of mercy.
Oh yeah, that's how we stay.
Reggae music are the best in a run, no contest. I could have kings or queens or even princess. All of them are votes say reggae are the best. Kalang Barrington, cause you a goddess. When we hold microphone, say we not take no rest. No DB DJ can't contest. When we come and dance, church, I know we are the best. Lyrics are me mouth, them a flow through me chest. Sure.
Dancehall rock, and you can't stop that. Dancehall rock, big fish no fat. Dancehall rock, grandma and papa, don't stop rock. No.
Yeah, it's just the same old thing. Jealousy and bad mind amongst the people. Them fin know that you job blessing, you are prosper. Yeah, yes. Oh, them. Jealousy, it a go play them. Bad mind, it a go mad them. It's because they're evil love, make them envy you and your hard-earned blessing. My prayer. I tell you, jealousy, it a go play them. Bad mind, it a go mad them. It's because they're evil love, make them envy you and your hard-earned blessing. My prayer. Them not know how you work to make two ends meet. Yes. They conspire to persecute you falsely. Talk all manner of people against thee. It burns their heart when they see your prosperity. Ooh-wee. So they constantly discredit your good deeds. Even try to disgrace you in the streets. Yeah. Hold firm. Don't let the evil get you down. No. Persecution only makes you stronger. Have faith in Jah and He won't let you down. No. I tell you, hold firm. Don't let the evil get you down. No. Persecution only makes you stronger. Have faith in Jah and He won't let you down. I tell them, say jealousy, it a go play them. Bad mind, it a go mad them. It's because they're evil lust, make them envy you and your hard-earned blessing. My way. Tell them jealousy, it a go play them. Bad mind, it a go mad them. It's because they're evil lust, make them envy you and your hard-earned blessing. My friend. They only knew how hard you worked to get this far. Oh Lord. So I'm glad they were there from the start. When they talk, you hear the jealousy in their heart. Some try to hold you down, but still they wonder. Ooh, how comes you still seem to prosper when they're trying their best to keep you under? You just say hold firm, you won't let their evil get you down. No, persecution only makes you stronger. You trust in Jah and Jah won't let you down. No, tell them you are hold firm, you won't let their evil get you down. No, persecution only makes you stronger. You trust in Jah and Jah won't let
let you down. You tell them